Okay, so for some time we have been looking at some of the problems that are bedeviling our part of the world, that is Africa. And we started by looking at what Harakati is a Muungano, an NGO that is trying to bring Africa together and actually get the development that the continent deserves. We started with the incumbent non-self-succession, a system that we were proposing that an incumbent government, because of their level of power and control, should not succeed themselves. And I think largely it was actually a reasonable policy that I believe African continent should embrace. But more to that, post-election, I think there are also some issues that we have to address. And that is actually the winner takes it all form of governance, where immediately you really win the election, it means that all power, everything comes to you, all resources, all appointment comes to you, regardless of your probability of winning. I mean your proportion of winning. Okay. So this is another angle that we have to look at. And another model, I think during the conference, there was another proposal from the Harakati Muungano through that conference that there is another system that we can choose to apply in our part of the world. And that is the minority inclusive form of governance, where the winner doesn't get the opportunity to take all as it applies in our current system. So what does it say? We have a system where sometimes the government that wins the election maybe wins with just 51%. 51% of the total voting population. But then they get opportunity to appoint 100% from their party specifically. Okay. I can come to Ghana and use that as an example, and I believe it applies in almost all of the African continent. NDC won the election in 2024 with just 56%. But then, when it comes to appointment and government, they have that power to appoint 100% of the governing bodies or representatives from their party. I believe that actually also contributes to the tension and the fight and the conflict in our election. Because, as we said, when you go to opposition, it means you are meant for doom. You literally have nothing at all to live on because you don't even contribute to government. The only thing you can do is to criticize. And I will not do constructive criticism if I'm in opposition, when I know that the next government, you will still come and contest me. So what it means is that the incumbent non-self-succession will solve a problem, 50%, one way or the other. But then, a model that can actually bring together the opposition, the minority, so that they can also contribute to the development of the country, I believe that will even make the country more peaceful in our part of the country, and development would go to that high level. Okay, so what it means is that the ruling party, in this case the NDC is that example that I was using, if they won with 56%, then they should be restricted to some extent to appoint 56% of their government from their party, in this case the NDC, so that the 44 minority share that is held by other parties should be coming from the society or the public. So that in this case, you would have other people from the minority party or the minority group also contributing to government, and that would not limit the governance or the process of governing to only the party that wins the election. In that case, friction will be removed, as you said, conflict will be removed. It will lead to what we call consensus kind of democracy, whereby we all judge or we all talk and come to an agreement, because you don't own everything. I'm also part of it. If we fail, we fail together. If we win together. And because the incumbent doesn't even get opportunity to represent itself, there is no yeah, someone can say that probably the opposition or the minority party will work against the incumbent. That will be solved by our incumbent on self-succession, because at the end of the day, even if you work against me, what's the benefit? I'm not coming anyway. Okay, so we will have a very holistic and a very friendly and serene environment in our part of the country, so that all this conflict and the fighting and all those things will come to an end. So that is what I think we can also look at that model and apply in our part of the continent. The minority inclusive kind of governance, where the minority party would also have a say and a proportion in the ruling of the government. Thank you.
Okay, as Mr. Joshua said, the minority inclusive will bring peace and will bring unity into our system of government, especially when it comes to election time. People like opposition parties talk very bad about people, or they insult too much because they want to come to power. But if they know that they are also going to be included in the government, this bickering and all these things will slow down a little bit. Because, for example, a young guy who is coming up in politics will insult an elderly person like he or she is nobody. You know, if a country goes that way, that no respect for elderly, I think it's going to be a very, very tough system. That country, if there's no respect, laws cannot be followed. So the minority inclusive, if I know that this opposition party has come to power and my party, my ideologies, what our thinking, what we have promised our party, we can also have a say in the government. I think that will bring down this peace. Because you know that I'm coming to power and that we are all going to work together. And you two will go in the opposition sometime. And when you come to power, our thinking it will work together. I think this will be a very good thing. And this can help us with the menace that Ghana we are going through. But this inclusive government will help solve this thing that we have gone through for all these times. Thank you.
Yeah, to add to what you have all said, I think here we are looking at this inclusive minority model. We are not just looking at political parties. Assuming we vote, just like we are taking the example of Ghana, and the party in power now has over 56%. So we consider the 44, that's how it should be, not just from the political party, but all those who have voted for the party in power. So the head of state or the party in power has the power to appoint just the 56% that he had during the election. And then the 44 or 43, over 43% from other political parties and other people who haven't voted for him, people who are not in his party, because the 56% is solely for his party people. So the rest, which we consider as minority, will come from parties and from other CSOs. If you look at the example of Ghana, there are some known party members who are now serving in the current government. So that is what we are looking at. If you include all these people, then the friction, the conflict, my people are not there, my tribe is not there, my religion, my religion people are not there. These things will disappear. Because you see at least some few people who are not known members of the party in also seem to be running the country. So that is the way to go. We need to ensure that we don't exclude people. We include them. we include everybody. Everyone should see himself or his member or his party or his father or whoever it is to be part of those who are governing the country. And if it's happened this way, then we will lessen the conflict. We are talking about unity. Then we will all come together and see that, oh, if things are not going on well, we will not blame just one party. We will blame the leadership. And we are saying that these leaders who are there today, they will not be there next time. So everybody will be on his toe. People will have to work hard so that when they go, after one term, they can come back. And this is what we are looking at. So I think that this inclusive minority is the way to go, especially for Africa. Because we are really lagging behind. We are like conflict, fight, even within a region, we are fighting. He's not of my tribe. I haven't seen my tribe people there. He is not in my religion. I haven't seen my people there. This thing will disappear. That is the only way we can also come together and start really our development, because we are not developing. We have become so petty and looking at every detail. How to see if my father is not there, I will not vote for him. I will not work for him. I will make sure that he fails. Some of you might even heard that some party members are saying that they are working so that the party in power should not, succeed. How can we govern a country like that? It doesn't help. We must all come together and put our shoulder to hill and make sure that if you win today, I will come and continue. That is how you administer a country. You don't wish a fail for the one who is there. So when you come, you start afresh. When shall we grow? It doesn't help. So I think we all have to make sure that we don't exclude people, we include them rather, and to facilitate the administration of the country. Thank you.
So I think in addition to all what we have all said here, going forward, I think minority inclusive and incumbent on self-succession will really bring us a lot of benefits. We are talking about things, projects and other things that have been destroyed, and violence and other things. If these things should come on board, that the countries accept that this way of governance, I'm very sure that this abandonment of projects of a sitting government who has passed will continue, and we will have no more violence. We will have no more brother against brother, sister against sister, and father against son, or mother against daughter. There will be peace and calm in our countries, especially in Africa. And our countries will be developed, because a government will come and the project has not been completed. He will continue with that project. And in this way, we will not be wasting resources and monies, and there will be peace and calm in all the countries. This will also help bring about job and good ideas from the other parties, especially the minority and opposition parties, who will be inclusive by the current government or the sitting government. It will help them to also bring their ideas and their decisions, which they also have. I believe that they also have so much decisions and other things, but because we always avoid them, or we don't add them, we don't include them to the sitting government, then they will start pulling each other down. Even when the sitting government is doing something good, very good, they will try so much to pull the sitting government down, which is not good. This morning I was listening to news, and you can't believe that the sitting government is trying so hard to block or to stop or to start arresting people who come out on social media to insult sitting government, to speak abusive words to sitting government. Then the opposition party comes in and speak against it, make it look as if the government is trying to arrest them, they have voted for him, and this is what they don't want them to speak their minds, which is not right. These things are not supposed to be done for our youth, the younger ones who are coming to hear and learn. They need to grow from what we are doing. They need to look at and emulate what we do, but not to listen to things that will not bring them to anywhere. So I think that all of us, we have spoken a lot, and we hope and pray that Harakati za Muungano will have the courage and the push from behind, from other people, to move forward with this thing. And we pray to God that our leaders and the general public, the nation, and the whole Africa will have this heart of, love. Together we'll be able to draw this agenda, and together we will push it up. And then I'm sure that Africa will be a very beautiful place to live in. And the Western people will also see that we have also come on board. I think that is what I also have to add.
Yeah, okay. I also have the view that the minority inclusive model that the Harakati za Muungano actually adding up to the first one that we discussed here last time, that is the incumbent non-self-succession model will actually put together to work better for Africa. Yes, the idea is actually welcoming for the fact that if a minority will actually be part of the governance and will have the chance to have a say there, why should be the friction? Why should it be friction for rivaling for power? Because you know that by all means you will have a say in the government, and that will actually bring continuity in governance, because the minority feel that they also have a say, and then they will also be part of it. It will actually also take away the friction as possible and must be a part of this, because the majority always think that is the incumbent. They always think that they have to fight everything possible to retain in power, because there's nothing to lose there. Even we heard of one of our former presidents before said that it is like to be a messenger in an incumbent is better than to be a chief director in opposition. So you could imagine that how they don't want to actually lose power. They always want to hang to power. So, but if you know that you are also part of it, I mean, there will be a reasonable suggestion that people will actually, embrace. Like the oppositions normally not bad like that, but because they are not given the opportunity to also say something, that is where they seem to look bad. The best they can also come together and let Africa grow. So for the fact that the Harakati za Muungano is bringing this idea is welcome idea.